Hai, Assalamualaikum. I'm Aminuddin Burhan.
I am Nurul Batrisyia Binti Muhamad Radi.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Qatrunnada.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhamad Azri Faris bin Nasrulkhairi.
My name is Fazilatul Fatihah Binti Muhamad Gazali.
My name is Muhammad Alif Azmi.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Amirah Aqilah binti Hassan.
I'm going to present the case study that have been given by our lecturer. Going into the introduction, I'll be the inspection to find defects that we choose is Pansapuri Medari Subang. I will explain on the definition of building a defect, which is any minor or major damage that found on a building. In order to keep the building in a good use and safe for people that either live in it or having working environment in the building, is making sure the building to always followed up with a regular maintenance. The following content of the video is the name of the defect, the type, the symptoms, the factors, and the remedial actions of the defect. Here is plumbing defect, which showed that the broken plumbing that caused the leaking and state of the defect. It is located at the ground floor of the block. The symptoms identified on the defect is water dripping from the leakage and the patch effect on the cement floor. So the causes of the defect is because of the pipe that get loose because of the high water pressure pushing the water connector, which resulting in the water dripping from the leakage. What we can do as remedy for the leaking plumbing defect, which is shown in the picture, is fix it with epoxy. Epoxy is kind of a hardener glue made of resin or epoxy polymer to connect or join a range of surfaces together like leaking. First, make sure the leaking spot is dry, and then apply the epoxy at the leaking spot and wait for several minutes for it to completely dry and harden. Lastly, seal the pipe with a suitable tape for leaking, such as silicone tape. Lastly, wrap it around the pipe to give more strength. The next defect is facility defect, and the type of the defect is the chain swing that broken as shown on the slide. The broken swings located at the playground where there are other facilities other than swings, such as slide. The symptoms that can be pointed out are the chains were unattached to the bar because of the sprocket bolts being removed by force, cause it to be harmful for the kids and other people to play it with. Other symptom identified is the rusty chain on the swing made it easier to break and collapse. The factor of the defect is because of human faulty mainly, that take a poor job taking care of the facilities that have been provided for them. Moreover, it caused by the weather, climate, and temperature exposed. The remedial, since it creates a hazard for the people to use it need to be removed and replaced with a new set of swings so that there's no one getting harmed by trying to have fun with the swing. Last but not least from me is sanitary defect, as how it is shown on the slide. The type of the defect is the broken appliance became loose, resulting in the sludge drain plumbing that is located under the sink and the septic property. The symptoms identified is water dripping because of the disconnected pipe with the sink and made the water not flow right into the drain plumbing. It also made the pipe get clogged because there are not enough water flow to push such particle like hair into the plumbing and make it stuck at the end hole.
And I will continue the presentation with the next part of defects, which has been identified at the subject property. The first one is paint defect, and the type of defect is choking paint. The symptoms that can be seen for this defect is there are a formation of powder when rubbing the painted wall, which located at the ground floor of block 3. The causes might be due to the exposure of excessive heat and weather towards the painted wall, which lead to dissolution of paint binder and cause choking on the painted wall. As for remedial action, the excess surface powder and chalking need to be removed first before applying suitable top coat on the wall. The second one also paint defect, which the type of the defect is mildew. So the symptoms are splotchy spots that are in green, brown and grey color are spotted on the painted walls, which are the fungus that occurred at the rear side of block 2. Exposure of excess moisture, which lead to fungal growth, and the use of low quality paint which contains less mildew site can be the causes of the defect. So the remedial action that need to be taken is clear the mildew first on the painted wall using solution of bleach and detergent. Then rinse it and let the wall dry before repainting with high quality paint. The third one is ceiling defect, which the type of defect is ceiling holes. At 10th floor of block 3, 2 big holes were spotted on the ceiling as the ceiling board was collapsed. This is due to the poor workmanship while installing the ceiling board, and it might be due to the low quality of ceiling board that been used before this. So the remedial action is the new ceiling board must be in high quality and must be installed by experienced workers to make sure it is durable and can be used for a long time. For the last defect is floor defect, and the type of defect is white cracks on the cement floor. The symptoms is the cement floor has heaving floor cracks which occurred at the motorcycle parking place. The defect can be caused by the overloading or excessive weight which press the cement down. To repair this defect, remedial action need to be taken, whereby dust and dirt need to be cleared at the crack base and then fill the crack slowly with concrete filler. If using a pre-mixed concrete patch, the manufacturer's instructions have to be followed for mixing and troweling the patch into the crack. It will be better if the concrete was sealed after patching it. That's all from me. Thank you.
So I will continue to the next defects, which is ceiling defect, where there was a penetration dam on the ceiling that located at occupant home at the highest floor. The defect is identified as the plaster ceiling has dew stains on it. This happened because water leaked through ceiling and leaving a coating of dew stain on the ceiling surface. To reserve, we must identify the source of the leak. If the leak is coming from the roof, repair cracked shingles, damaged flashing or defective seals around roof vent. After that, add oil-based stain primer coat and then apply a coat of ceiling paint to ceiling. Next defect, which is wall defect, where there is falling concrete occurred in building corridor of block 3. There are rust stains on the surface of the wall, rough and crumbling texture, and loose piece of concrete or fractures along with some parts falling off. The steel reinforcing bars resulting in fractures and bulge. This defect happened because of carbonation. To resolve the defect, firstly, remove any dirt from the area to be fixed in order to avoid bond-breaking chemicals. Next, use a wire brush to clean the rebar of any corrosion or dirt before applying a protective coating as to prevent from rusting. Finally, once the material has completely set, add paint or a waterproofing layer to prevent spalling from occurring again. Next defect, which is stair defect, where there is concrete cracks on the stair in front of the apartment. It's identified as crack occurs due to the movement of ground, which is causing some part of the stair collapse. This happened because of the poor workmanship and movement of the ground is unstable. To resolve, first remove any topsoil, soft areas or organic material from the subgrade. Then, compact any loose soil beneath the concrete slab and continue with other procedures. Finally, reduce the water content of the mix by increasing the size and quantity of coarse aggregate and using low shrinkage aggregate. Next is electrical defect, where there is a wiring detached from the wall in the occupant house and there is a burning sign on the ceiling and tube sockets. The electrical fault happened as a result of the installation of wall light is on the wrong place, which is leading to burnout. To resolve, firstly, electric current leakage needs to be checked and do rewiring procedures. The light needs to be replaced on the walls. The switch must be turned off throughout the replacement procedure. Then, Place the replacement light on the walls and install the bulb. Lastly, test the light by turning it on and making sure it works.
So, the next defect is door defect. The types of defect is an insect attack which occurred in the block 3. The symptoms are the wood door frame is having an open cut or damage which leaves a sharp edges that terribly dangerous to the occupant. This happens because of the dry wood termite infestation that can survive with air humidity and they can enter through an exposed wood or wooden furniture. So the remedial action is we can replace the damaged wood frame with a new one to effectively remove all of the termite. This is a staircase defect and the types of defect is water dampness resulting in spalling concrete that occurred at the 10th floor of the block 3. The symptoms are the dampness create a discoloration under the staircase and erode the concrete which lead to spalling. The causes is because an excess moisture or rainwater seeping from top of the building or the roof. 10th floor was more exposed to the rain resulting a very daunting water dampness up there. So, the remedial action is we need to replaster the affected area with a waterproof plaster or cement mixtures to avoid further dampness. This is an electrical defect and the types of defect is switches does not functioning well and occurred in one of the occupant's kitchen in block 3. The symptoms are the switches is unable to turn on and off properly. The switch on is stuck and hard to turn it off back, which can lead to grave danger. The main cause of this defect is identified as a poor installation by the workman. The remedial is to install the switches with a new high quality one since it is no longer functioning and the installation must be made in a proper way. This is a floor defect and the types of defect is settlement on the cement floor which take place at the motorcycle parking place at ground floor of block 3. The symptoms is a small hairline cracks and the causes is the underlying earth is not properly compacted or the subsoil did not meet the correct consistency. It is also could be from uneven subgrade soil after a concrete was poured over. So the remedial is the concrete cracks must be treated by targeted injection of appropriate material and followed by a suitable protective concrete coating which depends on the depth or width of the cracks.
So as you can see the defects, the name of the defect was a stairholder defects and the type of the defect was a rusty stairholder. So this defect located at the front of the house at the block 3. So the symptom that been shown was the paint on the stairholder is peelings and the rust is slowly fading. So the causes for this defect was rust is a causes when the iron in steels react with the oxygens and water to form a brown rust, which causes the stairs to corrode. So for the remedial, the rust is a common problem, so make sure to repaint it regularly and use the anti-paint with the anti-tear coating. So for these slides, as you can see, the name of the defect was a facility defects and the type of the defect was a jogging track defects. So this defect located at the playgrounds in the area of the block 3 apartments. So the symptom that been shown is the disorganized nature of the tracks can cause injury to those who jogs on them. It can be dangerous. So causes the jogging track area becomes disorganized as a result of the roots of a nearby tree creeping down on the jogging area tracks. So the remedial, each disorganized section should be rearranged and it should be embanked with a soil or sand if that area has holes or cements. So for these slides, the name of the defect was the door defects and the type of the defect was a broken electrical meter room's door. So these defects are located at the 4th floor at the block 3 and the symptom that we shows for this defect was the door to the electrical meter rooms was destroyed due to a cheap wood material which was easily breakable. The causes for this defect was the door was found to be made from a cheap wood materials and it easy to be break according to the inspection before. So the remedial for these defects was replace the door, the broken door with a good quality door such as a fire resistant metal louver door. This is because of to ensure the occupants protection in terms of the safety. So that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum. Me as Nur Aqilah will present 4 defects. Okay, first defect is for wall defects. Okay, the type of defect is uneven defects. So as we can see in the slide, there is a picture of the defect. We can see in the picture, the wall has uneven surface that will give a bad appearance to the wall. So the symptoms are caused by the human mistakes. Okay, the meaning of the human mistake is the workman does not have a good experience for plastering or choose the wrong material to use for plastering. So we need to use we need to sand the drywall to fit this flow. Depending on the situation, we can use one of two types of the sanders. Okay, we can use a hand sanding block to smooth up slightly uneven walls, while we can use an electric sander for rough spots and defects. Okay, electric sanders on the other hand are very harm to the wall and very difficult to use. As a result, handling an electric hand sander requires extensive preparation. Next slide is also the wall defect. Okay, the damaged wall skating, which is the type for this defect. Okay, the tiles had come loose from the wall. It has a negative effect on the individual who live there, since the sharp edge of the tiles can cause injury to the residents. Okay, according to the inspection, there is a lot of moisture in the air, which could cause the tile to swell. Because of the friction created by the contraction, the tile may come loose from the wall. So to overcome this defect, firstly we must determine the location of the pop tiles in the house first. So after that, we can use cement tiles as an adhesive to adhere it to the tile, and then we can replace the old tiles with the new ones that have the same size as the old one on the wall skating. Okay, the third defect is wall defect. Okay, and the type is blistering. Okay, how we identify the blistering in the wall? If we see on the surface, the wall has small particles. Okay, so when the wall is exposed with the sunlight, the internal wall will heat and cause the blistering. To repair the blistering, first of all, we must scrape, sand, or should be pressure wash down to the underlying paint or priming coats. Okay, so repaint the surface with a high quality interior or exterior paint and keep the temperature below 90 degrees. Finally, we can decide on the best paints for the project. Lastly, the wall defect of the type is penetrating dam. Okay, we can see the dam on the surface of the wall, which is the symptoms. Okay, this defect happens because the surface of the external wall is exposed to the prevailing wet wipe, which it is allowing water to flow steadily from the outside to the inside walls of the house. So on the exterior wall, we must use a dam-proof paint because it adheres better to the outside wall, which will repair this problem. Also, we can repaint to the internal walls that have penetrated them with paint it, and also by doing this, it make the house look new and fresh.
Today, I would like to present the another 3 defects, which is floor defects and another 2 defects. Firstly, floor defect. As the picture shown, there are cracks on the floor tiles. It happened on the ground floor of block 3 of the apartment. Symptoms identified is the tiles were cracked due to low quality of insulation. As a result, the tiles become cracked in uneven shape from the actual size. The damage happened due to heavy loads from heavy things or the human faulty. Dropping a heavy object on it can cause an impact that will not be able to fix it in a short of time. Remedial action can be undertaken to fix the cracked tiles by replacing it with a new high quality tiles. First, break the damaged tiles and place the new tiles on a top of level cement. For a better result, it is recommended to use 43 grades of cement, especially for fixing the cracked tiles. Moving to the next defect is wall defect. We clearly can see the uneven wall paint as the picture shown. Symptoms identified is the wall is not painted properly that causes an uneven wall paint. It is obviously can be seen that the effect of the paintbrush applied unevenly. The damage occurred due to poor workmanship of the house wall painting. There is only one thin layer applied that causes the appearance of the cement wall beneath. The wall can be fixed by getting a new paint that suits the wall. Then apply the paint on the wall with a thicker layer so that the cement wall cannot be seen anymore. The defect I will be presenting is the wall defect which had fungus stain on the external wall of the house. We can clearly see that there is some greenish fungus stain appear on the external wall as the picture shown. The damage occurred due to water leakage from raining heavily that fall onto the floor and it bounced against the wall. Next, the fungus stain happened due to improper plumbing installation. Next, to remove the fungus stain is by using the baking soda solution. Prepare the baking soda solution and transfer it into a spray bottle. Then spray the solution of baking soda onto the surface that affected by the fungus stain and let the application stay for 10 minutes. After that, wipe the fungus stain using a wet sponge and it's done. Putting in a nutshell, we have identified a total of 25 building defects from one subject property, which is an apartment Pangsa Puri Mentari located at Subang, Selangor. The defects were include 21 civil defects such as water dampness and cracked floor tiles. Besides that, 2 mechanical defects were found which are leaking pipe and broken appliance. Lastly, 2 electrical defects were found which are wiring detached to the wall and switches not well functioning. Building defect will not occur if there is a proper building maintenance has been scheduled. When a building develops a defect, the causes of those defects must be adequately identified before taking any remedial work. Apart from that, we had some lessons learned by doing this building defect inspection. We get to know the remedial work to do if there's any defect occur. For example, a solution of baking soda towards a wall that affected by the fungus attack. Another lesson then is we get to discover the real condition of building defect that we are rarely found even in our own home. To be concluded, a building defect is a defect or imperfection of the design, construction, materials or the construction project. However, the building has been built will be facing some challenges and damages during the period of time, so that the remedial works should be done properly to avoid it from the defect occur again. That's all from us. Thank you.